All right, Kyle, what exactly is co-housing?
I think of co-housing as just being a more communal form of living. So I think in many ways it's a return to how people lived throughout history. Like in your book, you talk a lot about the single family home and some of the challenges of that. The way I think most people in the United States think of single family homes as like the predominant type of way we live, and almost as if it's this inevitable way of living. That really only came on in a big way since like the post-war era, like people returning with the GI Bill and building out Levittown and these other sort of historical things. So when you go back further than that, it's really interesting to see how people lived. And so in many ways, I think co-housing is just kind of a return to a living that reinforces like mutuality and support. Some of the physical traits that co-housing tends to have in the United States is it's typically about 30 units. They share a common house. So that's the term they use. And that is usually a large building on the property where people share meals. So different communities have different relationships with it, but many organize cooking programs. And so the residents will alternate cooking for the entire community. Sometimes that's as infrequently as holidays, but in some communities that I visited, that happens 5 nights a week. And then that building also houses other things like a place to do your laundry. So often they don't have units within laundry units within their individual units. That's all shared in the common house. That can have a lot of other things like co-working space, playrooms for kids. That's sort of physically how it looks. It looks different between urban and rural places, but I think the other key thing is that it's designed intentionally in a way to foster community through the way you circulate through. So in an urban setting, that might be like a single loaded corridor, meaning that there's units on one side and it's open to the other so that you can see people as they move from their unit to the common house or from their unit to their car, which a typical trait, whether it's rural or urban, is that cars are parked around the perimeter, so that it's less car centric and more people centric. Um, but in rural settings, often, there is a pathway that all of the units are sort of organized around. So
Mhm.
inevitably, you bump into people in a way that you wouldn't in a traditional kind of suburban neighborhood.